Success is what we do best at the Blue Collar Success Group.
I was actually on earlier, John, with some folks that were from all over the world. I was in a Zoom meeting. It was kind of cool, as you're in a Zoom meeting to recognize that there's people not just from all over the country, but all over the world that dial into this little square box that we call Zoom. And so it's really cool to be able to do that and share energy. And I'm so excited today to be dialing in from where I'm at to be joining all of you that are joining with us today. Some of our members are joining in today, along with some special guests of folks that registered for today's event. And we're super excited about this training. I will be your host for those that do not know me. I don't want to just jump in, but I do want to tell you that today you are going to need pen and paper. And if you've got camera, I'd love that camera to be turned on so I can see you a little bit. You can see me. It'd be kind of weird if I was just talking the whole time and you couldn't see me or see my screen. I will be screen sharing, and I'm also going to ask for you to have your chat open as well because I'm going to do a little interaction for those that are not familiar with the Blue Collar Success Group, who we are, who I am. I'm going to give you a quick 5,000 foot view. I'm an electrician by trade. I've been an electrician for almost 30 years now. I've been in the industry. I've owned, I've operated, I sold my business. I've been in the field. I've worked for a franchisor, and my experience is very vast. What you need to know today is the information that I'm going to be sharing with you is based off of experience of building a business. And so today, if you're looking to build your business, and that's why you showed up today, then do me a favor, open up the chat and just give me some confirmation that I have the right audience. However you guys want to let me know. It could be a thumbs up, it can be a heck yeah, it can be a whatever you guys want. Just let me know that you guys are ready to build your business today because that's exactly what we showed up for. We're going to be focusing on sweet. Okay, yeah, build and scale. Awesome. Good to have you in as well. I got some let's do. I got that thumbs up. I was wondering how long. Kathy, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here with us as well. Rich got the let's go, let's roll, let's build. Heck yeah, Abel, good to see you, brother. Thank you for that sweet hat, by the way. I sport that Colorado hat for professional power quite often. I appreciate it. And I got a purple shirt on today, so it probably would go well with what I got on if I were to try to match it up. Got some thumbs up here for my second dose of blue collar training today. I guess, Danetta, you were in probably Office Champions Academy today? No, Outbound Champions, Dispatch Champions. What were you in? I clearly don't know what's going on our training schedule. I feel bad now.
I was with Jeremy. Jeremy was doing the master.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, hey, today's Wednesday. That's right. I forget
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah, good to have you. Sal, good to see you, brother. I'm glad you're here as well. Got some stuff from Jay and the plumber. Robert, good to see you, man. I'm glad you showed back up for us again. We're happy to have you in, dialing in from up a little bit north of where we're at right now. So, Paul, thank you so much. We're glad that you're here as well. So I want to go ahead and get started today. And the thing that I really want you to focus on today is blocking out everything that's going on around you because today we're going to focus on building a home service business that runs itself. And I don't know about you, but I was sharing most recently in a conversation with somebody. I'm going to go all the way back to my days of owning and operating, and as a small business, I recognize that everything revolves around you. You are kind of the linchpin, and without you, not a lot happens. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of my experience and story of owning a small business and help you to get some freedom through that. And I hope that what I share today impacts you and impacts your business and your team. I'll never forget, it was probably, I don't even know what time, but I know it was after normal people go to sleep. And during the time as a small business, I answered the phones after hours 24/7, and me and my partner tackled that together. I'll never forget that the company phone used to have to sit by my bed, and so that when it rang at night, I could run. And this was before there were tablets and computers that you could just quickly log a service call. But I would run into the bathroom as I answered the phone so I could turn the light on so I could take the service call and take down the information so I could dispatch a technician. The next morning when I woke up, my wife looked me dead in the face and she said, I'm so glad that you're doing what you're doing. I support you, but I got to tell you, this has to stop. And it was a defining moment for me. It was a defining moment because I was building our future. I was building our dreams and everything that we ever wanted through being an entrepreneur. And what that meant to me was time was ticking. She was on a clock. She was only willing to ride this ride for a certain amount of time before I had to figure. She didn't say, "Hey, if you don't do this, I'm not supporting you." She didn't give me an option of like do this, or she just said this has to stop. We can't continue doing this. I'm curious if anybody's had one of those defining moments in your business. Have you had one of those? Just show of hands. Just you can do that just through the camera. Yeah, and it could even be recent. And for me, that was my motivation. That was my kick in the rear end of what are you doing, Chris? And it was at that point where I pressed the accelerator on everything in the business to help get me out of answering the phones. And once again, I'll remind for those that are just showing up early on as a small business, I had to do everything. Everything depended upon me. And so you're talking to someone who understands that. You're talking to someone who gets it. But that's not all we're going to talk about today. Maybe some of you have built this business and the business is built around you and it consumes you and it's at every corner and every turn. And quite frankly, if there would be no business, there would be no identity of who you are because your identity is wrapped up in the business. I'm going to say this to you today. If you're very serious about getting out of that today, this is going to be the most impactful 2 hours that we're going to share. If you leave, you're on your own. I love you, want to help you, but if you can't give us attention today, I can't help you. Okay? So I need your undivided attention today as we share. This business is serious, right? And I'm not here to play today. I'm here to have fun. But today I'm here to help you guys on your path of success. So let's go ahead and get started today. Camera's on. Do me a favor, chat. We'll be monitoring chat so I can make sure that if anything's coming through on chat, we'll get that for you as well. But I want to just really run through, if I could, the ability for you and I to focus on our business for a minute. But if you could, I want you to just take a moment and be really present. Whether you're in your office, you're at home, you're on the road, you're in a vehicle, I want you to just be very present right now with this group and this energy because there's going to be a lot to be said about that because we're all looking to accomplish the same thing today. How we're going to get there is going to be a little different, but all of us are looking to build and grow our businesses to a point to where, well, I don't know how else to say it, but get out of the overwhelm. In fact, I'd say this, what according to studies and research, most business owners are working or thinking about the business 7 days a week, constantly putting out fires, not knowing what the next thing's going to be. But I just want to remind you today that you're not alone. You're not alone with this thing. Question for you, though. Are you tired of working those 60+ hour work weeks and never truly really getting a break? And you don't need to chat that into me today. But I just want you to, because you're present, and although there is a group of you, I am talking to you as an individual today. And I want you to know that you're not alone. I see so much frustration with business owners, and it pains me to know that they're in pain. And I don't mean like necessarily physically, but well, I will say this, the amount of stress that can be placed upon owners and operators because of a lack of a few things that we're going to share today, it can create physical pain for you, high blood pressure, lack of sleep, health problems, diet problems, because we don't take care of ourselves. In fact, there was a study that was done by Inc., and they found that 43% of business owners say that always being on the job is their biggest challenge. And when I use the word always on the job, meaning that this little thing right here keeps me attached to it 24/7, and I'm constantly I'm getting alerts, or I'm getting emails, or I'm getting text messages, or I'm getting phone calls. But this directly ties to the desire for a business that runs itself. Always being on the job. In fact, SCORE reported that 62% of entrepreneurs, people just like you, individuals just like you, said the stress of ownership is worse than they imagined. So what does this tell us? And this is not my information, by the way. I'm just here. And maybe for some of you, this is a wake up call. And if it is, then hell yeah, you're in the right place at the right time, my friend. But what this tells me is this highlights the emotional toil that of the long hours and the lack of systems takes on us. And really when I think about it, it's the overwhelm. And the overwhelm is real. It's a real thing. Don't think for half a second early on in blue collar that there's been times where the overwhelm for me was a little much. Building a business is hard, but it doesn't have to be. With the right things in place, you can shortcut things. I'm just curious. Open up the chat really quick. How many people like shortcuts? And I didn't say cheat, maybe it might be cheating, but how many people like shortcuts? Okay. All right. There. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. Yep. Brandon, Kyle, Kathy's like, heck yeah, I'll take some shortcuts. And so, and what I mean by that is I'm not trying to cut quality. I'm not trying to cut corners, but in many cases, yeah, thank you for that, Greg, as well. I don't know how true this is, but I heard that Bill Gates used to say things like, we actually try to find people that were lazy because we wanted them to find all the shortcuts in the work. Because we realized that when you find shortcuts and none of that stuff mattered and it still gets to the destination with the same quality, that means all the extra is just minutia. And so anything that we can cut out of the business, the better off we're going to be, right? And as a part of the overwhelm, we've got to also understand a few more statistics. Inc. magazine also found that 33% of small business owners work at least 50 hours a week, with an additional 25% of them logging more than 60 hours a week. We had this dream of entrepreneurship or leadership, and we're thinking, hey, I'm just going to kick back and relax and enjoy the fruits of everything that I put in place. And it doesn't happen as fast as we thought it should. And we find ourselves in the grind, in the muck, trying to get ourselves out. And so this just really paints a very clear picture for me of the time commitment that it takes to build a business. Building a business on 5 hours a week is maybe not in our industry, I don't think, but we're going to help you get there. So long hours tend to start to be the norm. And I'd say this also as a team member. I was just on the phone with my father-in-law who was in the flooring business, and my nephew works for an electrical contractor, and he was like, sometimes they're out till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Can you believe they do that? And I said, welcome to the service industry. Nobody's calling somebody at 10 o'clock at night to come out to their house because their carpet needs to be replaced or they've got a piece of vinyl that's come loose. Like, that's not how that works. We're in on demand businesses. And because we're in on demand businesses, sometimes customers have very outside of the norm expectations of who we are. And so if we build the business that we want, we can enjoy the fruits of our labor. Inc. magazine also stated that 70% of small business owners work at least one weekend day regularly. And this, for me, watch this, you ready? What this emphasizes for me is the lack of a boundary, of the always on mentality. You feel me? You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, this is a real thing. And I'm not trying to make you hurt and you're like, yeah, Chris, I know this. Yeah, Chris, I know this. I'm trying to get you freedom today. And to get you freedom, I got to make sure you want to get out of the pain, because right now, many of you are on normal work hours and it's Wednesday. So the pain doesn't show up until the after hours or the weekends or, I mean, the vacations, right? Like, we think about that. And SCORE actually revealed that 57% of small business owners even take vacations. And even when they do, 67% of them at least check in once a day to make sure everything's okay. Isn't that a crazy place to be, that we've built a business that we can't even disconnect from it for 24 hours, 48 hours? And this just kind of, for me, it underlines the difficulty of truly disconnecting, like truly just, I'm out of here. I'll be back in 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, however long that you're going to be gone for. And weekends and vacations, yeah, forget about it. This is kind of what everybody, do me a favor right now. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if getting into being a business owner or even being in an operator role, this is the kind of life you imagine that you were going to build. Sitting, and maybe it's not the sand that you're sitting on some island looking at the water, but maybe it's the mountains or some other destination of your choosing. Give me a thumbs up if that's what you had thought about when you got in business or why you wanted to do it. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. This is why Kyle got in business. There we go. Joseph, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Abel, yeah, exactly. Oh, Jay said I knew better. Well, Jay, why would we build ourselves into this crazy world that we can't escape? And let me just be very clear. Some people love to work. They do that. They just their identity is wrapped up. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying having the ability and the choice is where it's really at. If I want to work 80 hours a week because I enjoy it, I'll go do that. But having to do it is another story. And I want to make sure that you guys don't feel like you have to go do that. Let's just take a moment and think about these numbers that I shared with you. I shared with you some statistics, and I hope that they weren't scary statistics because they're real. And these numbers, they represent lost time with family. They represent missed opportunities of things that you could have been doing something else, and certainly a level of increased stress. All of this compounded. I've seen, people quote, burn the candle at both ends. And the problem with burning the candle at both ends is eventually the piper is going to have to get paid. And I'm going to say this to every single person today. This is not a doom and gloom. We're about to shift gears. You will make your health and wellness a priority. The question is, will it be too late? After you've had a heart attack or after you've had open heart surgery or after you've had a stroke or after, and I'm just bringing to you real stuff today. And this, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, if you don't fix the challenges today, it will eventually start to impact your health. I plan on living a really long time. And to do that, I also plan on staying healthy as well. And so this happens, and don't just go, oh, well, I'm not a business owner, I'm immune to this. Wrong, my friend. I couldn't tell you. In fact, I could share with you multiple people that I know that are in this industry that were in leadership roles, and the pressure was so high. The lack of sleep, the lack of self-care, the lack of all those things led them to burning out early. And they literally had to quit and go find a whole nother line of work. I don't want that for you, unless that's what you want. But what I want for you is to build a business that serves you and not the other way around. So number one, I want you to write this down. This is the first thing that's got to happen. You got to have a desire to change. And I'm not saying that today you've got to literally 365 degrees and then get going again, not even 180 and get going again. Some of you might be off just a little bit, but you just need to make some course corrections. Some of you might need to make some drastic changes in the business. And I'll say this about change. Most people associate change with negativity. But in the picture, think about this. The larva can't become a butterfly until it isolates itself in that cocoon, and it goes through a process. It goes through a season of being in the cocoon. And your greatest version of yourself may just need to take some time away. If you really want to become the next version of yourself, there's going to have to be some changes, and you got to make that decision. And by the way, let me just say, I applaud you, Jay, on this journey. You said a year and a half ago. I don't know what that journey is, if that's business owner or turning the corner or not, but either way, I'm glad you're here, Jay. Thank you for that. So according to the alternative board, they found that 56% of owners would prefer to work 39 hours or less per week. And for some of you, you're like, heck, that's part time for me, Chris. If I could just work 39, I'd be part time, right? And what this tells me, and as I prepared for content to help really get you guys freedom, is that it really shows the yearning for better work-life balance. And this industry is plagued with this, not having the ability to balance work and life. And let me say this, the only person that can create it is you. You're the only person that can fix it. Nobody else can fix this for you. So when we look at taking the next step, so number one is the desire to say, hey, I want to make some changes. I want a business that runs itself. Question for you. I want you to just take a moment and on your piece of paper, we're going to do this. On your piece of paper, I'd like for you to write down a few things that come to your mind. If you have a business or want a business and you had it, a business that runs itself, I want you to take a moment and imagine that. And I don't mean like completely automated, so structured and systematized that every private equity company in town is beating down your door because it's so well. I'm not talking about the perfect company. Let me just be very clear about that. But I am talking about a company that allows you to step away and not have direct involvement in everything. What would that mean to you? How would that feel? And I want you to write down right now, and we're a little different. I want you to write down a few words that come to mind of how that would feel for you. Yeah, thank you for not 39 hours straight. Heck no. That would drive me crazy. There's not, hey, if we get 39 straight, no way. Maybe possible. Somebody do me a favor, open the chat, drop one word in, just one word of how it would feel, how you think you would feel if you had that business that runs. Yeah, thank you, Danetta. Peace, relief. Yeah, thank you for that. Refreshed, freedom. Yeah, yeah, scary. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about that later, but maybe is it scary because not knowing what that might look like or feel like, or could it be that, Chris, how would that be? Right? There's no way that that could happen. But I want you to just release yourself from that ability to do that. And I'm seeing a lot freedom, fuel, better relationship. Many of us vindicated, yeah, less stress. Many of us actually have a very bad relationship with our business as a leader, a manager, or an owner. It's almost that thing that you have negative association with. It's the thing that you almost don't like it anymore. But it's not what you want to feel, but it is what you feel because of all of the stuff that comes with it. And I want you to imagine a world where this is reality. This is just reality. What would you do with yourself? I'm just asking. So now we talk about how you'd feel, but what would you do? Maybe find yourself, yeah, exactly, right, Debbie, a pit in your stomach, right? I know that feeling. What would you do with yourself? Just write it on the piece of paper. Like, what would I do? Would I spend more time with family? Would I take more vacation? Would I play golf? Would I play pickleball? Would I pick up some new volunteer work in my, in my community? Yeah, there you go. Volunteer, right? I was like, I would find something that helps drive purpose in my life, right? Enjoy the little things. Thank you, Kathy. But we don't do these things today because let me go back to Stephen Covey for a minute. When we talk about the start another business. Hey, serial entrepreneur. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Like I'd be on to the next business. But if you had the ability to have one that ran itself and business was super enjoyable, who wouldn't want to go start another business, right? Maybe have a hobby. Yeah, strengthen marriage 1,000%. Play more golf. Thank you, Tim. It's actually not that far away. It's really not. With discipline and structure of things we're going to share with you today and execution, you're there. And I'm cheering you on. Yeah, more fishing, right? More fishing. I'm cheering you on. And the reason why is because I think about things like, generally speaking, I think I would have like a sense of increased freedom, scalability, right? The ability to grow this thing. Like nobody wants to take the business they've got today and be like, all right, my pain is a 5 today, but gosh, if we were 30% more, my pain might be an 8 with this business, or my frustration might be. And so today I'm not proposing that growing your business will get you out of pain. But I'm saying you can fix your business at the size you're at today. You don't need to grow anymore. You don't have to. So this is not a, hey, when you get to 20 million, all your problems go away. No, if you don't address the core, if you're a $2 million business at 20 million, it's only going to be even worse because it's 10 times what you've got today. So we've got to make sure we address it. And let me say this. I want to repeat this. Just because you have revenue, it will not address the issues that we're going to talk about today. It just simply will not. You've got to take action on the things that we talk about to improve profitability and decrease stress. Number 2, now we're getting into the meat today. Number 2 is the foundation. And don't look at me and roll your eyes. Well, you can look at me and roll your eyes because I guess I wouldn't see it at this point. But it's so funny to me how people want to shortcut things, but the moment that you start telling them the things they can't shortcut, they think they can just shortcut and do the things they want to do. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Diluted system, diluted results, which simply means don't do step 2 right here, and you're going to find yourself in pain again at some point. So we're going to talk foundation for a moment around defining your vision and your values. And really, when it comes to vision, I want you to think about this. And I'm going to say this. You'll be hard pressed to find a business that is self-managing, where the owner has little to no involvement in that business, and there's not a mission statement in place, and it's alive and well. Let me say that. It's not that we have a mission statement and it's tucked in a drawer somewhere, or it's not that I'm talking about right here on my desk. It's alive and well. It's a constant reminder for me of what our mission is as an organization. I don't own this business. I'm the president of this organization, and it's under my charge to make sure that we fulfill the mission statement. And by the way, the mission statement is not a box you check and then move on. If it's indefinite, it's get up tomorrow and do it again. Get up tomorrow and do it again. And so every team member understands the mission at hand. This is not like we're in the military and the mission is to go to XYZ to extract XYZ and bring it back. That's not the mission. The mission is something we get up every day and go do. And so I'd say this, without the mission, you can't have clear direction. You just can't. And so what you're going to have is people that are doing things that are outside of the mission. And you're going to be frustrated. You're going to get sucked back in. Why can't we get this right? I don't understand this. It's because you got to have very clear mission. And I said alive and well. What does that mean? For me, the word alive and well means it's talked about often and it's brought to life so that team members can live out the mission statement. What does that mean, Chris? I could share with you what that means for me. But the question is, what does it mean for you? What does the mission statement mean for you? How does it impact you? Do team members really believe in the mission? Because if they don't, what you've got is temporary people. I'm looking to enlist people to help us go accomplish the mission. That's how you get freedom. You enlist people around you to do the things pointed in the right direction. Yes, you're HVAC. Yes, you're plumbing. Yes, you're electrical. Yes, you're another trade. I get that. And the mission is go do the job. And that, my friend, is the reason why you're in pain. Just go do what we do for a living. See, it's deeper than that. Now I can be connected with more of the business so I can truly start to understand the business, the leadership, and its goals and objectives, which I want you to think about this for a moment. Now, what would success on your piece of paper? I'd like for you to define what your ideal business would be. In other words, what would success look like for you? Now, you might say, well, Chris, I'm not the owner, so I don't get the perks of that. Really? Like, you don't get the ability to build freedom to do what you want every day when you show up? You don't have the ability, like, I'm not talking about do the things that you have to do. I'm talking about doing the things you want to do in the business. What would that look like for you? I know people that come into their business, they spend a couple of hours and then they go home. I know people that might show up to the business once, twice a week. I know people that run everything from a remote location, everything's done over the phone. And all of those are possibilities for you. Next question. What are your long-term goals? And I want you to write this down. Long-term goals beyond revenue, meaning not, I want to be a $5 million company. I want to be a $30 million company. I want to be a 70. That's just the start. I understand that. And by the way, that is important. I don't want to minimize that at all. I don't want to minimize that at all. But what would be your long-term goals? Like, is a part of your long-term goals possibly being able to contribute to a nonprofit organization to help build houses where like you could have some deep-rooted mission that's your personal mission that the business could help accomplish. When I think about long-term goals, could be things like, having team. How about this one? Having team members that have worked for me for 30 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Like, think about goals outside of just revenue. Don't just focus on revenue and profits. The next thing that we've got to do is establish core values. Now, establishing core values, I'm a big fan of 5 to 7, no more, because the moment that you start having a bunch of core values, the challenge is, remember, most of this is where it's written down somewhere. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this and how to bring this to life in your business. But we've got to make sure that it's not, number one, the mission statement is not so long that someone couldn't remember it. Because then think about this, and I just want to, this is not a, hang on, wait, we got to do it this way, okay? So I just want to stop for a minute. And I want to say this. I'm not saying that your mission statement is bad today if people can't remember it. I'm not. But you might consider revamping your mission statement to be something that's easily to be memorized, because if I can't remember it, how in the world will I live it? If I don't even understand, even if I don't get every word exact, maybe I get all the keywords together and it puts together that mission. Think about that. If the vision is unclear, it's going to be very difficult for me to be able to help you make that happen. And I'm saying this today, Kenny and Christy own this business. And if I'm not really clear on what their vision for their future is, there's no way in hell I can make this business make that happen. It's just impossible. As a manager and owner, get very clear about what you want from the business and what your mission and vision is. Core values, I use them like this. Very simple, easy to remember, because when we think about core values, think about what does it mean to be the core? It's the very center, right? And then everything is built around that. So try to take core values out of the things I'm teaching you today, and what do you got? You've got a void, which means, watch this, if this were the core values and I have a lack of them, or maybe I have them, but I've not brought them to life by talking about, sharing, and helping to ingrain them into the culture of the business. This is the core, and then I started building the business, layer after layer after layer of revenue and people, and now I've got this big thing. But there's no core, there's no strength in the middle. And so what allows is for the ability for things to fall apart, for things to get cracks, for things to not be what I thought they would be. And I want to remind you that core values are not just important, they're a must. They're a must to building a self-managing business. Once again, I think you'll be very hard pressed to find a business that doesn't have core values in place and it's a well-run self-managing business. It might be a self-managing business, but excuse my English, it might be a shit show. And I'm just calling it for what it is. The owner doesn't show up, but it still moves along, but it doesn't do so very well, and that's just a matter of time. And remember this, when there's no leadership in the building, nobody's leading. So core values at its core, it would not no pun intended there, but core values become decision making beacons. Now I explain this a lot in our team. My team's on today. They can tell you I'm not talking out of two sides of my mouth and telling you guys to do one thing and we do another. I believe in it so much that every time that our team meets, we go over mission statement and core values. And I do that in multiple ways. I don't get up and go, all right, guys, here's our mission statement, here's our core values, and we move on. I try to create a lesson within it. I try to get team member involvement in it. Tell me about a time this week where you feel like you've operated with integrity, or tell me a situation where you feel like you've won together. Tell me a situation about how you feel like you achieved our mission of it. And when you get buy-in like this, you're on your way to self-managing business. That's fine. You can disagree with me all you want. It doesn't change the fact that this is how it is. Once again, I'll shortcut that, Chris. We'll move on. By the way, you do me a favor, Chris? Move on to the next thing. I'm good with this one. I don't need step 2. But remember that these impact your hiring decisions, your training, and your customer interactions. When you don't have mission statement, core values in place, you wonder why you have such a terrible time with your team members. It's because there's not a good core fundamental in place of the mission statement and core values. People always say, oh, I hired this person, they were just a wreck. Well, how did you let the mission statement core value be a part of the hiring decision? I can share with you how I did it, but that's neither here nor there. But you've got to make sure that these things, because they do, and a lack of them, by the way, also impact hiring, training, and customer interactions. So it's really around the vision and the values. I give you guys a personal one at Blue Collar. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't allow anyone inside of our business, team members, to speak negatively about clients. I'm not going to tell you that it won't happen, but I'll tell you it won't happen in my presence. I won't allow people to speak negatively about our clients, whether it's true or not. Whether someone's being difficult or unreasonable or have some crazy expectation that we're going to do or they were wrong. Like, it doesn't matter. You're not going to speak negatively about them. And that was true in my service business as well. And I can tell you this. Everybody says in customer service that the customer's always right. And I always say to those people, then clearly you've never been in the customer service business, because they're not always right. But I understand the concept, right? I understand the concept. But even though they are not in the right, we can't treat them negatively because they're not in the right, because we are in the customer service industry. Number 3, write this one down. Systematizing your operations. Making sure that touch points along the way are systematized. If you don't systematize, you're relying solely upon the hiring of the people that you've made. Watch how this compounds. If you don't hire the right people and you don't have systems in place, you're constantly putting fires out. You're constantly having to fix things. And this is where the stress and the long hours. When you hire the right people that have the right understanding of the process of the business's mission, values, core values, mission statement, and vision, those people should be able to go out still with supervision. Please let me be very clear. This doesn't mean that if you hire the right people, they need no supervision. This is why managers exist, okay? But the crux of it all is if I don't hire the right people, those people won't follow my systems. Let me say that again. If I don't hire the right people, they're not going to follow the systems that I put in place. Let me just stop for a minute. Chat it in right now if you've got those team members that work for you today. You've got systems in place and they're just simply not followed. Chat it in. Kevin O'Leary, good to see you, brother. I'm glad you're here. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Oh, I got Debbie and Mike on the horn today, too. I just was able to get and see some cameras in there. Michael with On Site, good to see you as well, brother. Okay, so I got some, and then I've got sort of and some sums as well. Let me say this, that it doesn't mean that you've got the wrong people. It may be that you haven't trained them. So I don't want to say 100% that when people aren't following that they're not the right people, but could it possibly be that we've got to take some ownership in that? You and I have to take some ownership in, you know what, Chris, I don't even know if my team members are aware that we even have a mission statement. I don't even know if everybody's aware that we have core values. But do yourself a favor. Let's circle back to make sure. And if you've got a mission statement and core values, why don't you just go confirm that everybody knows what it is? And then now it becomes ingrained into the culture. And people ask us all the time, like, what do you think's the secret sauce to your culture, blue collar? And I'm not trying to be bragful. Well, yeah, I am being bragful. I'm very proud of what we're building here and the culture of this team. I'm very proud of it. And it starts with staying true to the mission statement, core values. Now, if I've got the right people that understand the mission statement, core values, and they believe in the vision, and I've hired based upon that, and they're not following systems, now I get a training opportunity. You hear me? I got a training opportunity in front of me because I got the right people. Maybe the right people just haven't been trained. And guess who's got to own that? Me. And it doesn't mean I got to go train everybody, but I've got to take the responsibility of doing something about this. I'll never forget. I'll tell you guys a really quick story. Very large company in the Texas market, very large company. They'll probably do $120 million. I was blown away by this. You ready? Don't have an onboard training plan for anybody that walks in the door. $120 million business doesn't have an onboard training. So you can grow, but you're just going to have a lot of pain. And where did that come from? I was talking to the manager of that business, and I was talking about some of the pains that they had. And we uncovered really quickly that they don't train people when they come on board. They don't know the process of the company. They don't know how to use the iPad. And I called that manager's name, and I was like, you see where we're at now? You've created this, and you're the only person that can fix it. And I'm proud to say, not only did they work to develop their onboard training plan, they just didn't start training people that walked in the door. They recognized right then and there, oh no, if I'm really going to fix this, I got to start training the people that work here. So they were bringing people in by waves to bring them through the onboard training plan to make sure that everybody knew how to do what they expected them to do. Systematizing your operations is one of the keys to building a business that will run itself. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of this, so don't leave, so that you can make sure that you take notes on what I'm going to share with you today. It starts with documented processes. If it's not written, it's not real. You've heard that before. But it's not just that it's not written, it's not real. If it's not written, how in the hell could we hold somebody accountable to it? Like, hey, you know what you're supposed to do. And you know what it usually comes out as? I've told you, but see, telling isn't training. And I'm going to start with answering the phones all the way to completing jobs. Everything should have a documented procedure. This ensures that you have consistency in the process and that quality is there. And if you don't have consistency and quality, then we got to go back and go, okay, great. Is there something broken with the process? Because let me just stop. Those are the phone calls that you get. You've never had that phone call at 9 o'clock at night, right? where somebody's telling you, oh, by the way, we just drilled a hole through the customer's floor, or oh, by the way, we just flooded the house, or oh, by the way, so and so, like all the things that take us away from living the life that we tried to build, we've got to fix them. We've got to make sure that we address it. Is the process, was it the process or was it the person? Oh, we got a person. Okay, well, let's address that, because I'm building a self-managing business. I'm building a business that runs itself with supervision. So as we jump into a few of these, I'm gonna give you a few keys around a few key systems. I want you to write these down, okay? And it's not like a massive overhaul. So where should you get started? I'm gonna tell you where you should get started after I'm done with sharing this with you. I want you to decide where you need to get started. But where you need to start is where you're experiencing the most amount of pain, whether it be it's sucking your time away from you. Managers, hear me out. It's sucking the time away from you. And I can see where I'm going with this. I'm getting pretty excited here. So I'm just gonna stop for a minute. How many people have had the best of plans that you're gonna go in on your day of work and you're gonna accomplish this, and this, and then all of a sudden, all that just gets thrown out the window and you're putting out fires? Mike, is that a yes for you? Or are you laughing, thinking to yourself, like, there's no way you can actually have a plan, Chris? Every day is a new experience, right? It's like opening up birthday presents every day you walk into the door. Everything's something going to be new and exciting every day. Yeah, and I think that is the case, right? When we walk into the business and we're going to do this today, we're going to impose our will. And I'm not coming at you guys strong to be like, no, you got to suck it up and you got to get tough. And that's not our style, not my style, but an awareness of this is like Groundhog Day for me, Chris. Y'all feel me? It's like Groundhog Day. It's the same day over and over and over again. The service business, same problems over and over and over again. Well, where I'm going to encourage you to start with is start taking note. I'm not saying don't put the fire out. You got to put the fire out, but start taking note. And all I want you to take note on is, was this a person problem or was this a process problem? Is there a lack of process here? Do we even have a process around this? I don't even know. And that's what I'll just ask a quick question for you guys today. Just think about this for a moment. Have you ever had a job that you performed for a customer and there was some understanding of whether we're talking about you put the landscaping back, whether we're digging in the yard and the customer thought you were going to put it back to the way it was before you got started, because some customers have that expectation, by the way, or you're a plumber, electrician, or HVAC or any other trade, and you're going to have to cut some drywall. And you told the customer about it, that you were going to have to cut drywall, and that drywall repair was not included in your quote. Or maybe some other kind of modifications needed to be done, and another contractor would need to come in and fix it. And it's not included in the quote. So you ever had the phone call of it didn't go like that? And the customer had some level of expectation that thank you for that. Yeah, we make holes, but we don't fix them. Like I told my guys all the time, like, you're an electrician. I don't want you patching drywall. I don't want you trying to fix landscaping. I don't want that. So think about this. Where does all that start from a process and a key system? Well, number one, it probably should go in our paperwork. Well, mine wasn't clear enough, clearly. So I had in my business a damage waiver. And it was a universal damage waiver that just said job number, or customer name, date. And then from there, it had a box that they had to check of all the damages that might potentially happen. And oh, by the way, you do that before you start the job and you get the customer to sign off on that saying, I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to try to make your house look like a piece of Swiss cheese when I'm working in here. But as I cut holes, we're not fixing them. And I know that there could be. And so I told my guys, if you're going to do a job and you're like, oh, I think we can do this job with no damage at all. If you're not 100% sure, damage waiver has to be used and you explain it to the customer. That's the process, right? Now I've got to train people on that and I've got to hold them accountable to that. And see, these are the kind of processes that I no longer had to take those phone calls. Yeah. $90,000 on systems and operation helper. Wow. Um, and I'll say this, right? There's just no way to have every single process documented. So that's where I want to start with for you, okay? I want you to be easy on yourself. There's just no way for you to have every single thing documented right now. But where I would start is the things that are causing you the most pain. So start there because we're trying to work you out of the pain. We're trying to work you out of the long hours, work you out of the frustration. I don't need you getting out of this life a little early because you own or run a service business. That's not your escape exit, right? You go out on your terms the way you want, but I can't let that happen on my watch. So document systems. So let's talk about what some of the key systems are today. Question for you. How many people feel like they do a pretty good job of this already? Give me some stuff that you feel like, and if you feel like, hey, we do a pretty good job of having stuff documented. That's the part where y'all show up, not me. This ain't the Chris show. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Ish, we got documents. Ish, not okay. And thank you for Abel for that. All progress begins by telling the truth. They got a damage waiver, but it's attached to our estimate and not signed by the customer. Scott, might be an opportunity to make it a separate document right here. But remember, if you've never had a problem with it, no need to change the process, right? It must be working. And that's where I'm going with. Don't try to fix things that aren't broken, right? If it's working, then leave it. Got a good start. Thank you for that. Have documentation and process, but holding accountable is our issue. We're going to come to that one as well, Jesse. Thank you for being here, by the way. Starting a document process, and we're going to show you guys that today. There's a process to creating processes. Okay, a liability document drawn up by an attorney. Just little things that you're going to think about, and I'm going to now maybe break out the key ones for you today. And by the way, let me say this for the folks over at Clearwater Tech. Everything's clear until it's not clear. So I always tell people that if it's not written, it's not real. So I told my techs all the time, I don't care what you told the customer. If you didn't write it down and document it, then we've got to honor it. Like, it's just how it works, unless we want a bad reputation. And I know that my reputation is the only thing that I've got in the marketplace that I can control is my reputation. So let's start with a few of the processes, and I'm not going to, and by the way, Clearwater Tech, I don't want you guys to think that I was just coming at you on that, but once again, it's not clear, it's clear until it's not clear situation. Just keep your eye on that stuff, right? If all of a sudden you see an opportunity to improve in some area. So when it comes to sales and marketing, let's think about things like lead generation. Well, what's the process around that? And it could be around, and don't just think it's just marketing. It could be how you outbound. If you've been through our Outbound Champions Academy with your playbooks, knowing that, hey, this is what we're calling on right now. This is what we're calling on today. This is how it works, right? Lead generation. What about the quoting process? How we quote? Is there standard operations around training about, hey, when we run service calls, I'm looking for at minimum 3 estimates. And if you say, well, Chris, that is what we want, but the question is it a part of the standard? Is it a part of the process that you teach? Well, Chris, not every job can have 3 options. Okay, great. Well, then now what you just did is you created the opportunity for your team to say, we didn't write up 3 options. Well, why not? Well, I couldn't. And then you go into telling them all the options they could have written up, but yet in your mind, you believe that not all jobs can have 3. Which way is it? Because you can't have both, right? It's either this is the standard or it's not the standard. And I'm not trying to be mean to you today. You said you wanted a business that runs itself, and so I'm trying to help you with that. There cannot be gray when it comes to the standard. This is how we quote. We do it just like this. I'll even get it down to, and I'll say this, you ready, around the standards and the processes. What you accept today becomes the standard of tomorrow. So if you let it slide, what you just did was you gave it the, you're good, keep doing that. And as a manager, I'm not saying that you've got to attack everybody that does something wrong, but you've got to make sure that you monitor and check this out. Or for some of you, some of the softwares that you're on, you can pull a little simple report and it'll tell you how many options per call they run. It's that simple. You're on track or you're off track. And if you're off track, I'm going to start looking at that. What about customer follow-up? Maybe we're not doing happy calls in the business anymore because it's, quote, automated. Okay, great. Well, how are we making sure that we're doing follow-ups with customers on unsold estimates and unsold proposed work? What does that process look like? Because if you just say, because I remember this, I've seen it done before. Hey, I need you to do me a favor. We don't have any calls on the board for tomorrow. I need you to sit down and start getting some calls on the board. Well, that's not a process. That's just go do this. And so if it's not documented with playbooks, right now, I'd like for you to call, watch this, more specific. I'd like for you to get some calls on the board for tomorrow. This is clear, by the way. I'd like for you to get some calls on the board tomorrow. And really what I want you to focus on first is everybody that has a service agreement with us that is past due. Do me a favor. Don't book any calls that are below a priority level 2. So 3s and above. What does that mean, Chris? Exactly, because if you don't have that system in place, that won't make sense. So now what happens, because I see this happen, whoever's doing the outbound calling does the best they can. They start calling. They put exactly what's on the board. And I was talking to a plumbing manager, and he said, Chris, hard to hit budget when all your guys are running is appointments on brand new houses. And there's some magic to that. I'm not saying today that we can't find opportunity on a 2-year-old house. But if your entire board is filled with houses that are 5 years and under, there's a really good chance you're not going to hit budget that day. I don't care how great your salespeople are. And if they are, then you got to be asking yourself the question, what all did we sell on 5-year-old houses that we were able to meet budget based on our average ticket? So I want to make sure I'm looking at our sales process as well. From there, what about things like the operations? And this one's going to get pretty deep, and I'm going to give you a few nuggets along the way right here. Don't glaze over on me, okay? I want you to stay present. Scheduling. Now, what I just shared with you around the priority, nothing lower than a priority level 2. So I only want 3, 4s, and 5s on the board. If you have a call priority matrix in place in your business, that, by the way, which means every single service call that comes into your business gets placed a value on it, a 1 through 5, based on the job type with a mix of a matrix of how old the equipment or the home is. And it's standardized, it's documented. This is the way we operate. Now what I've got is, and I could say this, if I were to sit down as the service manager of your business today, and I looked at your dispatch board, without digging in, could I know if we're going to hit budget that day or not? And the only way I can do that is by glancing at the board and saying, do we have some good calls on the board today? And I'm not saying everything's got to be a lay down, everything's got to be old, and everything's got to be sold as a replacement. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that a house that's 15 years old yields more possibility of opportunity than a 3-year-old house. Now, I'm going to say this. I used to say to my guys, every call's the same. If you can just get your foot in the door, it's an opportunity. All the while I knew in the back of my head, that wasn't real. And that was the reason why we developed the call priority matrix in my business, because all calls are not equal. All calls do not yield the same possibility. There's no amount of evidence that you'll ever provide me that'll prove that. Now, what we do with that call is the next component. And that's where, once again, a call priority matrix in place. After that, then I put a dispatching process in place that says, these are the people that can run these kind of calls. And I could operate off paper today, or I can operate inside of a software. What I typically see, and this is not trying to be mean or aggressive with you, what I typically see in a service business is that the service manager spends a lot of time looking at the dispatch board, making sure that the right tech goes to the right call. And so now what you've got, hang on, wait, I'm just going to stop. Let me just see if I'm right. How many people that's where your business is today? Service managers are kind of overseeing the dispatch board. They're not moving the calls around. The dispatcher's still doing it. Yeah, thank you, Mike. You're first to it, and I appreciate you for that, man. I really do. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how to get free from that. Thank you for that, Kyle. Mine is not yes, and then I get a no. I typically say, okay, Jay, and I can help you with this stuff as well. I typically say this: if that is the case, what you have is a really expensive dispatcher on your hands because they're technically doing the dispatching, but the dispatcher is the one moving the calls. So take your service manager's compensation and your dispatcher, and that's what you got as far as a cost, right? And so, like, what should a manager, service manager, be doing? Overseeing the three quote, making sure that they're giving three estimates, making sure that forms are filled out, making sure we're not missing opportunities. Ultimately, a service manager is responsible for two things and two things only. You ready? Hit budgeted revenue, maintain budgeted margins, and that's it. That's all a service manager's responsibility is. There's a lot that goes into that. So, where are my service managers at? Chat it in if you're like, that's me, Chris. I'm a service manager. Now, there's a lot that goes into being a good service manager. And you got to have good processes in place. Thank you, Tim. You got to have good processes in place to drive revenue, right? Hit the budgeted revenue. And that goes back to as a service manager, when I sit down in front of the software, can I just look at the board and go, ooh, yeah, we got some good calls on the board today. This is going to be a good day, versus I sat down and go, oh my God, we don't have any good calls on the board today. They're all ones. They're all ones and twos. So now that leads me back to the scheduling component. All right. Let me get that for you, Meg. Two things service managers do. Number one, responsible for hitting the budgeted revenue. And that makes the assumption that there's a budget in place. Love you guys, but I'm calling you out. If you don't have a budget, it's going to be really hard to hold a service manager accountable. It's just that that's the way it is. Number two is that they hit the budgeted target margin, meaning whatever the budgeted gross margin is, because a service manager's job is to control direct cost. Now, I understand that some service managers are also responsible for fleet and other things, but I'm talking about just a service manager. Service managers are not warehouse managers. Now, they may fill that role. You guys got me on a roll now. Let me just stop for a minute. In smaller businesses, the service manager may be the warehouse manager, but you've got to understand those are two different roles. There's two different processes. So that if I get to a point to where I'm like, great, we've grown enough that I need to hire a warehouse manager, I'm not replacing the service manager. I'm just taking the responsibility of the warehouse off of the service manager to hire someone full time. I didn't do that until my business, by the way, a full-time warehouse person. We were probably about a $10 million business when I did that. Okay. Now, I'm not saying today that 10 million is the mark, but I'm just saying that's when I hired them. That was when I recognized that we're spread too thin, things are falling through the crack, and it's not that we got a process problem, it's not that we got a people problem, it's that we've got no accountability, which means there was no manager that had the time to hold that accountable. So let me go back to where I was headed. I should be able to sit down in your business today and quickly look and see, yeah, we've got a good chance of hitting budget today. And what happens is, as a service manager, when I sit down and I see all over the board ones and twos, I'm going to do the best I can that day to go make it happen. I'm going to go make it rain the best I can with my team, which means I'm going to buckle down on a lot of things, call by call. A lot of the systems that we teach, you're going to have to really get good at it that day. But now I'm going to bring it to the attention of whoever is in charge of the call center, that when we're putting calls on the board, we can't fill it with ones and twos. I'm not going to hit budget. So now what we got is we got unproductive truck rolls to houses, where you've seen it. I know you've seen it. You send a guy out because you're slow. You got your scheduled service or your maintenance calls, and then you got zero ticket, zero ticket, zero ticket, zero ticket. What you just did is you added insult to injury. Not only did we not produce the revenue, now we've got overhead tied to it to try to do it. And that just doesn't make sense. We're trying to build a business that runs itself. It's got to be systematized. You can't be the brains of the operation for everything. Create systems in place. So from here, that's where we go to job execution, like the actual running of the call. That's where we teach the 12 steps, the ultimate client experience in the Professional Tech Academy. Systematized way, this is how we run the jobs. Now then you got to have all your software and all that stuff. And then, you ready? Got to be some level of quality control in the back end. Taking of pictures. What in the old days, in the old days, the business I worked in, it was a person was the quality control. And he would literally be out on jobs, driving around, checking, spot checking. The challenge with that is you can't see it all. So what does that mean? That means that you and I have to make sure we find a way to systematize it so we can keep our eye on the quality of the jobs that we're performing. Then from there, let's talk customer service. How do we handle inquiries that come into the business? In other words, how we're answering the phones. It's a standardized way that we answer the phone. I heard somebody say this once, oh, I don't want all my people saying the same thing. If that's the case, for every CSR, that's how many different brands you're going to have. I want you to remember this. The people that answer your phone are a representation of your brand. They're a direct reflection of who you are as an organization. Now I'm going to go all the way back to the mission statement and core values. If that person, whoever said person is, doesn't fit the mold of our core values and mission statement, and then now on top of that, they don't have a process that they follow when they answer the phone, what do you think is going to happen to your booking rate? Not going to be very good. And the ones that you do get booked, your dispatcher is going to be frustrated, which means your technicians are going to be frustrated. That's just how it happens. What about a systematized way of handling customer concerns? Can you systematize that? Is there anybody on here today that has systematized customer concerns? If you are, just unmute yourself. I want to hear a little bit. It's the part where y'all interact. By the way, Wes, I'm digging those posters in the background, man. A little, heck yeah. Anybody got a documented process for how they handle customer concerns? All right. How many people deal with customer concerns? Type it in the box if you have to deal with customer concerns. If your businesses run so well you don't do those, maybe I should let you teach. Because people that are making mistakes are making things happen, by the way. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to give you guys just a really quick high level of my process. And that's why you showed up, because, yeah. If any concern, I contact the customer normally the same day to resolve and notate their account. Thank you for that. All of which will work, whatever you're doing today. If it's not causing you any pain, it doesn't happen, don't fix it. But it got to a point to where customer concerns became a pain point in my business. So I was like, we got to systematize this. And thank you for sharing that, Angie. And this might make a little sense. If I've hired the right person, they understand our mission, our vision, and our core values, I want to make sure that I also give them the ability and the autonomy to do what needs to be done within parameters. So I give them some guardrails. So here's mine at a high level. You ready? Anybody that answers the phone in my business has the autonomy to do whatever the customer needs us to do to make it right outside of giving money back. You need a technician come out there to take a look at it again? Sure. Why the hell would you pass that to a service manager to talk to a customer? Well, Chris, because we don't want to roll the truck out there. If not, guess what? Lesson doesn't get learned. When technicians got to roll that truck out there again and play the, whoops, I didn't do a good job out here, and have a little egg on their face, they're not learning from that. So it's an opportunity to capture and learn. So service managers know, hey, we watch warrant or recalls, what we called recalls. There was two types, a recall versus a warranty call. And we allowed the technician on site to determine that. I had a report that shows that when that technician goes out and they make an address to a warranty call or a callback, what we call a callback, warranty call or callback, that they had to then in the system, flag the call of which it happened on, of which, by the way, now flags who did the work originally. So now I can run a report that says callbacks created. See where I'm going with this? Systematizing the business. You want a technician to come back out there and clean up after they left? Sure, we're going to send them back out. Why? Because I had a warranty in my business that says if we don't clean up after we leave, we'll give you all your money back. Thank God they're giving us an opportunity to come back and clean up. Outside of giving money back, if the technician can fix it, book it, send them, do whatever needs to be done. However, if the customer was saying you overpriced the job or it's about money at all, I created autonomy for my customer service manager, or what you might call your call center manager. And I trained Dan and documented, here's how you handle customer concerns. And I gave Dan the ability to give money back up to $500 per occurrence. Now you might be freaking out. Maybe yours is 200, 300. Do whatever is comfortable for you. I don't care. But I can tell you this. I gave less money back when I put this process in place. And this is the reason why. By the time the manager or the owner or somebody else calls the customer back, because it doesn't always get to the desk of the person and they're out in the field or they're sitting at the dispatch board, by the time the customer gets in contact, they've been stewing on it for a while. And now what they wanted is not what they want anymore. They want more because they're aggravated that they didn't get their challenge resolved quickly. So I found out that I was giving back more money by prolonging it and getting it in the hands of somebody where I go, that's the person that should handle whether or not we're giving money back. And once again, I just created it and documented the process. That created a lot less friction for me and a lot more freedom for me and my team, because now customer concerns were handled at a very, very rapid pace. Then gathering feedback, making sure that how we handle our, like watching our reviews. And by the way, I'm going to stop and say this. Here's your little marketing tip. Google likes it when you reply quickly to online reviews. So if you've got online reviews that are coming your way and you just ignore those, you are missing a massive, let me say that again, massive marketing opportunity. Oh yeah, go check ours as well. You'll see that every review that people leave, we're returning with a reply, thanking them for their review. It's important that you do this, by the way, because it's a part of what Google's tracking. They want to know, are you a good company? Are you responsive? When people are posting reviews, are you quickly to respond to them? And by the way, you can set automation up to handle that stuff. If they're like 4 and 5 stars, you can have it set up to automate. If it's less than that, you can have it set up to where you get notified and you can actually have a human reply to that. Yeah, that's how technology is today. It's that good. In addition to this, it's around finance. So we talked around sales, marketing, operations, and now the last bucket of finance. As a part of the financing component, it's around how you invoice, how pay. Yeah, COD, which means we collect when we do the work right now. No AR. We don't do AR. And if that's your process, you got to make sure you got a process in place that makes sure that technicians can't just leave. Well, where did that start at? Let's go all the way back to the call center when the phone was answered and the script said that when we're done, we're going to collect payment. This is why it's a system. It's tied together. Don't try to fix your AR by telling technicians they got to collect. Start on the front end. Like, once again, we at Blue Collar, we teach you this as a part of the system, the overall system. And go ahead and carry some AR right now and see what happens. Abel, great question. I'm not Google and I don't know their specifics till their algorithms, but I would say like in our business today, we're within inside of that 24 hours. Yeah. 24 hours or less is my expectation that we reply to reviews. So I would start with there, and I wouldn't let it go days on end. And by the way, Abel, nothing wrong with going back on all your previous reviews and replying to them as well. Okay. So it goes back to invoicing, payments, making sure that people that we're doing work for are actually paying us. Make sure that there's some level of expense tracking in place, meaning that not just everybody has the ability to get a PO. That's as silly as giving everybody a checkbook that's open. Oh, Chris, but we'll check it. We'll do that. Yeah, but how do you even know what they're buying without looking through every one of those receipts and verifying that they didn't buy something extra while they're there? That just takes too much time. It's not systematized. You can systematize the business. And then that goes back to financial reporting. And I mean, no, really, financial reporting, where you get an income statement for the previous month. And as an owner, you get that thing out and you look at it, you read it, you dissect it, and you make the necessary adjustments and business decisions to move forward. And if you're not doing this on a consistent basis, you're never going to build a business that's running itself. That brings us to tools and technology. Making sure that your CRM software, your scheduling apps, project management tools, making sure all of this stuff is systematized. And we don't have enough time today for me to go through every single one of these, but I've hit the highlight points that I feel like for you would be very important. Number 4, building a high performing team. I'm going to stop right there. What questions do you have for me so far? None? You can unmute yourself if it makes it easier, and don't be afraid. I won't bite. I won't yell at you. I won't scream at you. Okay. So Meg, I don't know if that's a question about MGA Academy or if you're just putting it in there as a thought, because I think you guys just sent someone there to the one that we just did, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah. Oh, okay. Not yet. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna push forward. This is the part where you guys got to keep me awake, because if not, I'll nod off on you guys and go to sleep. I don't want to be nodding off in the middle of training for you guys. All right, yeah. Okay, great. Jay, thank you for that AI usage. It would take a full day for me to teach a class on that one, but I can tell you, yes, AI, yes. Thank you, Meg. Thanks for the coffee. Appreciate that. I'll just drink my water. I got a little water going on right here. Keep the old whistle wet. Jake, let me take that at the end. Will you do me a favor and hang out? I will take that AI question. John, don't let me forget that one, because I will squirrel on that one 100%. Talk about what all can be automated in the business and how to leverage and utilize that. And by the way, it's a scary word right now. In fact, AI now has already quickly become an addiction. Just like social media, just like alcohol, just like drugs, just like pornography, AI has now become an addiction. Yeah, that fast, just like that. People can get addicted to crazy things. So now we're going to talk about building the high performing team. And it all starts with, as I said, the right people. And when you're hiring people, their core value, mission statement, hiring for attitude and cultural fit in addition to skills, where many of us put skills on the front end. Skills can be taught, but attitude and culture fit can't be taught. That's just either they got it or they don't. In fact, I'll share this with you as we move on to the next slide. When it comes to effective onboarding and training, you've got to make sure that you set very clear expectations for your team and provide them the resources that they need to succeed. And I talked about this a little bit in the onboarding component. But now let me go back to the recruiting for a moment. Let me just share with you and we don't have time for all of our blue collar members. You guys, depending on your level of membership, may have access to this. It's called the Perfect Interview. It's a video where I explain to you how to conduct the perfect interview inside of it, and things that you probably may be doing today that are actually not allowing you to see the red flags. So I'm going to say this. After I interviewed someone, I had checkpoints in the interview, right? Thank you, Danetta. We had checkpoints along the interview, and I wouldn't even go take you to the next step in the interview unless you pass the first steps. So after you get all the way through a successful interview, and I decide that I think I like this person, I never made an offer right then and there. The next step is I'm going to have to get you to come in one day. And if you're going to be in the office, I'm going to have you shadow for a couple of hours, one of my CSRs, if I'm hiring for that position. And then I'll also set you a dispatch just so you can watch, observe, and see what's going on. And I paid them by the hour. And it's a federal, but I'm saying in the state of Florida, check your states, but in the state of Florida, anything under than $500, I don't even have to 1099 you. So it wasn't an accounting nightmare. I would just have my accounting department cut you a check right then and there, and I'd pay you and you could leave with it. Process. But what I would do in the field is I would ask for a full day. I put that technician with a field supervisor who, by the way, wasn't a high-powered salesperson. A field supervisor was exactly what it says it is. It was a next level management. These are the people that understand our processes, our culture, and how we do what we do. I asked that field supervisor at the end of the ride along 3 simple questions. How was their technical skills? Yes or no? How was their communication and sales skills and interaction with the customer? Yes or no? Cultural fit? Yes or no? If number 3 was a no, I don't care how good 1 or 2 was, because I knew what I was getting into. And you should let that sink in. You can hire all day long for the best salespeople and the best technical people, but if they're bad culture fits, the sun will not shine when there's dark clouds in the business. Just going to say it. So making sure that I have the ability to do that. And then post that, then I would make the offer. And there's a lot of things you got to have in place to be able to have people to do ride-alongs. You got to check your local state requirements that say, hey, and by the way, I had to have them sign a waiver that said they're not going to work in the home, they're not going to touch tools. But guess what? If they do, they're on their own. And almost always they worked with their hands. They did it. It's just in their nature. But I made them sign saying they wouldn't. And if they do, it's on them, not on me. My insurance covered me. Everything was good to go. So don't just go leave this training webinar and go, Chris said go do this, and then get yourself in a world of legal trouble. Don't do that. You got to make sure you investigate to do your homework. But once again, setting good, clear expectations and providing them the resources that they need. So making sure we get them the tools and training that they need. And then make sure that you trust your team. Give them the power of ownership. Don't micromanage them. Empower them and delegate. And in fact, I'm going to say this, selfless plug, at Acceleration Days coming up in the spring, we're going to be rolling out an entire process and tool around delegation so that we can help our members. All of our members on the horn right now, if you come to Acceleration Days, you're going to get this delegation maximizer. It simplifies delegation at a level you've never seen before. So you got to have the ability to delegate and let go. All right. You can't just delegate and then micromanage. You've got to delegate and then let go. And by the way, delegate doesn't mean you do all the dumb shit that I don't want to do. That's not what that means. I'm going to delegate so that I can elevate the people around me so that they can start to learn how to do the job that I do so that I can replace myself to find more time in the business. That's what delegation's all about, allowing other team members opportunities to grow as well, not just be your taskmaster. And then performance management. Building a self-management business has got to have some level of regular feedback in it to team members. Whether it's consistent one-on-ones, we have, for those members, know about our scorecards, whether you're reviewing those once a week, once a month, or once a quarter with your team. Performance reviews are important. And then also recognition. I know that Danetta was just on, and she does her blue comments and her blue candy for people that hit their personal goals with the goal board. Once again, the goal board is a part of the overall blue collar system. It's just what we do, right? You got to make sure that you have some form of recognition. Really quick, open up the chat. Everybody on here, open up the chat. How many people have an open group chat, whether it be with just your technicians or a section of the business, CSRs, dispatchers, managers, and you've got a channel of communication that just includes those people, not like a whole company? Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is going to be pretty powerful. Yeah, great. Yeah. Group chat, and you've got the chat me and WhatsApp, and you can create all this stuff. Let me come back to that, Gregory, as well on that. I think that's powerful as well. But the reason why I bring that up is because we would have internal. I started it at the management level, and then guess what started happening? My team started creating their own chats of top performing salespeople that wanted to be in a chat together so that iron could sharpen iron. They were like, hey, we're cool to be on that chat. Chris, okay, if we just as salespeople, we have our own little chat to keep in touch with each other, motivate people, hold people accountable. I said, as long as it don't turn negative, that's cool. I'm cool with that. But giving shout outs, like when a job gets sold, and not just hey, if it's a job over $8,000, let's send a shout out. That's not genuine. A genuine is, hey, Danette, I'm going to pick on you because I can see you. Danetta's never sold an $8,000 job, and she sells an $8,000 job. Woohoo, we're going to celebrate that. What if the shout out only started at $10,000? Danetta wouldn't have got the shout out. But see, Danetta accomplish something that she doesn't normally do. So once again, we want that genuine recognition. I've said this before, handwritten notes on desk, phone calls, text messages, emails, telling people happy birthday. Like these are things that overall build the company. Hey, you did a great job. Don't be thinking about what they did wrong. Think about things that they've done that are right. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that this is a key to it. Leader, as a part of that, you got to make sure you have leadership development in place. Building a self-managing business means you've got to invest in your growth and your team's growth. Your growth and your team's growth. It's that powerful. I had to say it again. And then that moves us into number 5, financial management and KPIs. What do I mean by that? You got to make sure that you're tracking key metrics. And let me say this, there is not a industry standard of the KPIs that you should be tracking. It's 100% based on the size of your company. Because if I asked you to tell me what your cost per lead is and you're a 2-truck operator, you probably don't have a clue what that is. You're like, I don't know. Hell, I think I know our average ticket, but that's about it. Like a smaller company can't track everything. But as the business gets larger, we've got to start adding things to it. Example, I had the privilege of flying from St. Louis, Missouri to here in Illinois. And I was flying right behind the pilot because I was in like a little bitty 6-passenger plane. And I looked at the dash and there wasn't very many gauges. Nothing like there are when I get on like a 747 or 757 when I'm traveling across the country. There's gauges and switches all over the place. That leads me to believe the larger the plane, the more sophistication it needs to make sure that things are being checked. The same is true about your business. The larger the business, the more sophistication, the more things need to be tracked. Okay? And I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer every single bit of this chat. Okay? If you'll hang out, I'll answer all the chat. Some of the things you might be thinking about are things like budgeted revenue, profit margins, customer acquisition cost, average ticket, call booking rate. And I've got a whole set of metrics of based on size of business. Here's what you should track, and here's the frequency in which you should track it, because not everything needs to be tracked by the day. This is what we do at Blue Collar, okay? This is what we do. We teach businesses how to run businesses, and for our members, these are the nuggets that I'm dropping for you today. That's why we did this webinar, reinforcement to you of things that you know that you need to be doing, making sure you're tracking and analyzing numbers. And then once again, regular financial reporting. I can't stress this enough. I couldn't tell you the amount of contractors that I've seen that are in business and then out of business because there's no ability to look at the financials. Let me say this. You run it from the checkbook and you'll run it into the ground. Test my theory. Well, Chris, I've been owning this business for 15 years. I've never looked at financials. Great. Well, how do you know when the end is not right in front of you? You don't know that. You could be one bad month away. Just because there's money in the checkbook doesn't mean that you're making money. You've got to make sure that you have the ability to cover the cost of running the business. And I'm not going to get into it today, but regular financial reporting will allow you to find leading indicators that says, hey, we're heading in a bad direction right now. If we don't course correct, we could be out of business in a couple of months. And that's exactly how it happens. Insult gets added to injury and it compounds and it's out. And once again, I'm going to come back to all this chat. I'm on a little bit of a roll. And then I'm going to say this, you need to understand your numbers to make data-driven decisions. This is not to say that you got to remember your numbers, but you've got to understand your numbers. And when you don't understand them, you're not going to be able to know the story that it's telling you, so you won't even know what to do. Let me say this. As a contractor, as an owner, I did not understand financials in my first run of business. Surprise, surprise, it wasn't very successful. My second run, I knew everything that I needed to know. I went and, quote, got my education. And that's how you can build a multi-million, multi-location, profit-producing cash cow of a business. Understanding the financials. And then you've also got to make sure that you can plan for the future and ensure financial stability through forecasting and budgeting. And at Blue Collar, we have the simplified budget tool, and then we've got the expanded budget tool. So it allows you to really dig in depending on the size of your business. And please, for those that are chatting, I'm not ignoring you. I'm going to come back to all this at the very end. So stay on. I'm going to take every single question if I have to stay till after dinner. This is the last one. You ready? Number 6, scaling and growth strategies. Because it's not just good enough to get it, systematize it, autopilot, and walk away. And this is the reason why. I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this, that Blue Collar is like, we're telling you, you got to grow 30, 40, 50% every year. If so, you're not a good business. But I will say this. If you're in a market where people are and you are not growing, someone is servicing the growth in your market, and it's probably one of your competitors. So what you're allowing your competitor to do is strengthen by growth. They're taking work off the table for you, and then it's surprise one day, hey, we ain't got enough calls on the board. What's going on? It's because XYZ competitor has been taking market share away from you. There's only so much to go around. And this is when you see people try to go into other trades and expand into other markets and do these things because it's caught up to them. And I'm just going to say, stick to where you're at. Own your backyard, dominate, and then expand. Because now you've got the plan and the footprint to go do so. So it's really, once again, around scaling. It's around the systems and processes that will enable growth. It's about replicating success as you expand. Things that are working, we've got to double down on. Structure needs to be changed. Like when I opened up another location that's an hour and a half from me, I created a whole nother level of complexities. But if I'd have just went, oh, we're going to put a call center there, we're going to put dispatchers there, we're going to put accounting there, it's not going to be as profitable, and it's going to run like separate businesses. So I had to find where were the shared resources that we can leverage. How does that look? What does that look like? Let's get that recipe right. Okay, now we've done that. Let's go do it again. And then what you start realizing is, oh my gosh, we're now a big regional player. How do we run regionally now? This is not just I got another office an hour and a half up the street. I got a location 4 hours from me, 5 hours from me. Systems and processes are what's going to enable the growth to allow you to have a self-managing business. And I said this before, scaling and growing is about delegation and outsourcing, freeing up your time to focus on strategic initiatives. Do me a favor right now. I don't care how big your business is or what size it's at. I want you to write down your piece of paper right now. I want you to write down how much time per week you spend on strategies to grow and scale. How much time a week consistently do you spend on growing and scaling? And I'm not talking about, oh, we reviewed the income statement, or oh, I looked at the KPI. I'm talking about where you sat down and you started thinking strategically. How much time a week have you spent to it? Might need to spend a little bit more time there, but before you do, once again, I gave you these 6 in order. John, thank you for dropping them in for us. And they are in those specific orders. If you're looking to build a business that runs itself, virtually runs itself without you, you've got to do the 6 in the order that we shared. Can't bounce around on these, right? You got to make sure you got them. You got your ducks in a row, so to speak, right? How are we feeling? Do me a favor right now. We're pretty close to time. We got about 30 more minutes. Do me a favor. And hey, y'all been hanging tough. We only had a few people that dropped like flies. Not a ton, just a couple people that maybe had other things going on. How you feeling? Type it in right now. Just stop for a minute and step back. Type in how you're feeling right now. Thank you, Danetta. Great. Thank you, Kyle. Heck yeah. Thank you, Laura. Makes me feel good, energized, good. Hey, because we're talking, and quickly, thank you for all the productive, motivated, good. Nobody's in the gap right now. I mean, nobody's going, golly, I got so much work to do. Good, refocused. Okay. Well, I want you just to be careful that on these items, as we've been here today, you're like, oh, I got so much I got to go do. God, we could go do this. Just stop. I want you to stay present. Don't be thinking about the what ifs or what you got to go do now. And I want you to take a moment and recognize something. In spite of all of our varying opinions, we live in the greatest country on the face of the planet. And before you start arguing with me about that, it's your choice. If you don't like it, you can leave. And this ain't political at all. I'm just saying, You have the ability to just move somewhere else if you want. Not everybody has that ability. You have the ability to just start a business if you want. You have ability to run your business the way you want. And the economy is good enough that it allows businesses just to start from scratch. Think about that. You didn't have to get the government's permission to start a business. Yeah, you got to file some paperwork and do all the dumb stuff, but you could go fulfill your vision and dreams and passion right here. Right here, right now. And I'm going to say, if this was your shot, yeah, Gregory, you don't even realize how powerful what you just said is. My side hustle is now my main hustle. When you can make your business be the main thing, things start to change, my friend. So you're on the right path right now. Then from there, continuous improvement. It's regular reviews and refining your systems and processes. I'm going to say this and make a statement. You ready? Managers' jobs are to make sure that they fix the things that aren't working. An owner or a high-level leader in the organization's job is to challenge everything that is working. If it's working, your job's to challenge it. And I don't mean like kick in the door and be like, why is our call booking percentage in the 90s right now? We got to get lower. I'm not mean that. Your job is, what are we doing that's working? Because there might be some gold in there that we could then take that to another part of the business. Or it might be working, and so we haven't even looked at it, but it actually has the biggest opportunity of upside with this little small tweak. Because remember, small hinges swing large doors. That's the job, right? But if all I'm doing is working and putting out fires all the time, it's going to be hard for me to find what's right so I can challenge it. Fix that first. And remember this. To get you closer to your goals, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. It just won't happen just by accident. So you got to put in the work to make all this become a reality. I'm going to ask you this question. This is not out of pity, but do you believe that just because you were here today and you plan on taking action that your business will be better? Do you believe that? Give me confirmation. Heck yeah. And I couldn't stop right now while the chats are coming in. I want to stop and recognize the fact that no matter where you're dialing in from, that you've taken this time out to focus on you and your business to at least explore what we had to say today. Just at least explore it. Like, okay, great. Yep, I've heard that. Yep, I've heard that. I've heard that. Yep, I've seen. Oh, that was a little nugget right there. And I hope that made it worth its time that you spent here. So thank you for doing that. And if I said to you today, as a part of being here and joining, you got to go take action. So now you got to, once again, where should you start? The things that are sucking your time, right? Get started there. Start at step one. Do I really want to make a change here? Right? Yeah. So I'm once again, Gregory, hang out for a minute. I'm gonna take all these questions so that I can make sure that everybody that came for what they came for get everything they came for. And at the end, I'll take all these questions. Promise. Okay. But if I said today, what if there was a way that you could reclaim your time and build the business that works for you, not the other way around? I told people all the time, when in my first stint, I own a business, I own a business, I own a business. But really in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't even own a business. This business owns me. It tells me everything I got to go do. It tells me where to be. And early in my second run of business, that was how it was until I'd made a conscious decision that I've got to take action. I got to have plans. I got to do the things I know that need to be done. And I got to quit fooling around to do it. And I'll ask this. I talked about shortcuts earlier, but would you guys consider shortcuts cheating? If there was a shortcut that I could provide you, would that be like cheating? Well, maybe it is the cheat code. I don't know, but I can tell you this. If you'll mark your calendars right now, I'm about to give you the cheat code. Here it is. Okay. Yes, I'm going to ask you to buy something, so don't leave. For our members, I'm not asking you to buy anything. If you're not a member, I'd like for you, if the last hour and a half has been valuable, I'm going to give you this massive opportunity that's going to be sitting in front of you. And I'm not asking for thousands of dollars. Ain't one of those pitches. But I'm going to ask you to get really serious about your business. Don't worry what's going on. I just need you to remember the dates, May the 7th through the 9th. This is where the shortcut or the cheat code is going to happen. If I said to you today that if you would be willing to invest time and money and it made sense, would you be willing to? You don't have to chat that in, but would you be willing to do some things different? If you're at the point where you're like, it's just painful, I don't want to do this anymore, you got to do something different. Doing what you've always done is going to get you what you've always got. And we see people all the time try to fix it themselves only to find themselves right back where they started. So I don't want this to go unnoticed, and I don't want to not reward your hard work. But what if I said it's 2.5 days working on your business? What would it do for you and your team? What if you were at a table of owners and managers that are doing the same things that you're doing, having some of the same challenges, or they have had, and then now you can learn from them? And I'm going to say this, I don't mean this in an ugly way at all. I'm not knocking it, but there's industry events everywhere now. Thank you, Tim. Industry events. Anybody can find a reason to go see a concert or see, some famous person give a speech. That never once has improved my business. Never once has it. I might get an idea from it, but never once has a song played at an event where somebody's saying, it's like, woo, I've never seen it. I can buy a ticket to go see that and get entertainment. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about a vacation. I'm talking about you having the ability to get away with like-minded people to help you build and grow your business. In fact, this is one of our valued members in Knoxville, Tennessee, says that this event that I'm going to talk about has been fire. I've learned nonstop during the sessions, and then I just keep learning during the breaks as I network and exchange ideas with my industry. This is a business who was at zero revenue when they started. 4 years later, they're going to do $10 million this year. Very profitably, by the way. What would this mean to you? And Mike's coming, so y'all know what his seat's going to be up front, by the way. If y'all know Mike, he's going to be all the way up front. You can sit at his table. And then once again, limiting beliefs. And this is a father-son combo, electrical company out of the Massachusetts area, dear friends of ours, said that our mindset's changing, and we're starting to see what we came for Acceleration Day workshop. After this, the whole thing started to shift. And this was that pivoting moment. In fact, Debbie, shout out to you. Thank you so much for posting this for us as well. Debbie posted inside of our private group. She said, just had to put it on the forum positive today. I feel after 25 years in business, we finally have built a team, hired 4 electricians in the year, and it's finally coming together. Thank you, Blue Collar and team, for your family and teaching advice, and most of all, the tough love. So I'm so glad that relationships matter. And so thank you, Debbie, for sharing that with us. But I want to talk to you about Acceleration Days and the Acceleration Days workshop. Don't go anywhere because I'm answering questions. This event would easily be worth $3,000. I know I could sell tickets for $3,000 all day long. It's worth way more than that. But this is an event that we have our members that get together to experience growth and revenue margins and profits. This event consistently provides confidence to them and their team and helping them to build the business. This particular session, and this is not one of those, if you've been before. This is kind of like church. You've never heard this message before, right? You might have heard messages similar, but you've not heard this one, and you don't want to miss out. We're going to be focused on growing profitably and eliminating chaos. We're going to talk about eliminating burnout, leadership that inspires your team to take action, scaling up without burning out. I'm going to show you how to do that in one of the sessions that I'll be teaching. We're going to be talking about driving sales and building confidence, fueling your vision, lighting the way for culture, purpose, and profitability, and how to turn your ambition, all that, I want to go do it, into real results. We're going to do that, Acceleration Days workshop. But because of our members, they get to enjoy this as a part of their membership. It is our cost for this event. I'm able to actually help you out a little bit. But because of this, we want to provide you with the opportunity to join us for these 2.5 days. And we're going to be focusing on igniting growth and profitability and leadership as well. Oh, and by the way, yeah, there'll be some food and drinks there as well, but that's what I call the icing on the cake, May 7th through the 9th. Type it in the box if you want to ignite your growth, profitability, and leadership. I mean, that's kind of hard to say no to, isn't it? That's a compelling offer. And I'm not saying that if you don't come, you don't want it. I'm just saying, do you want that? Does anybody want to grow ignite growth, profitability, and leadership, heck yeah, thank you. We're super looking forward to those that are going to be there. I'll be there too. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. That's an old saying from the South, by the way. So here's what I'm going to do for you. Today, I've given you 6 things. In addition to that, I'm giving you this massive opportunity right in front of you, okay? You're going to have the keys that unlocks the prison that you've built. For many of you, you feel like you've built a prison, and this prison it's the name that's on the building. That is the prison. It's the thing that you didn't want it to be. And if you're at a fork in the road trying to figure out what needs to happen, I'm giving you this opportunity to explore what it would be like, and I'm going to help you with it, okay? So watch this. Once again, we're going to focus on growth, profitability, and leadership, and we're going to dive into those topics while you get to network at tables with others. Here's my promise to you. Everything that we do at Blue Collar comes with a good promise. My promise is if you attend this event and you feel like you've wasted your money, I'm the most approachable guy you've ever met in your entire life. You come find me, and I'll give you a full refund of the ticket that you come. If you after the event, don't come for the first 30 minutes and be like, this ain't worth it. I'm talking about you stay for the whole event. You come find me at the end of 2.5 days and say, Chris, I don't think it was worth the price of admission. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to stroke you a check, give you your money back, and you can go on. Take your toys and leave it. I'm not that guy. So my promise to you is there is nothing getting in the way other than your ability to make the time to create the freedom that you want. Now, I will tell you, the ticket per seat is $14.97. So once again, I told you it's a $3,000 event. We're selling you tickets for $14.97. Now, I will say this, because you're here today and I've got something set up for you, I'm going to give you tickets for $8.97. Now, that means that you're getting 700 additional reasons why you want to attend. And for this offer today, let me remind you that this is a member event. So I don't have the ability to allow everybody to show up. It will be on a first come, first serve basis. I only have room for about the first 25 people who register. So if you're not a member, I'm planning on my members to be there. Members, I'm counting on you. And if you're not registered, get registered. This event's included in your membership. You get your seats depending on your level of membership. If you're not a member, first 25 in, don't call me on number 26 and be like, Chris, I finally figured it out. Can I go? I don't have room. Sorry, man. I might be able to give you standing room, but that wouldn't be comfortable. Do me a favor right now. My team is going to do 2 things. John, if you could do me a favor right now, drop into the chat the link just to learn more information. Like, I'm not locking you in a room right now and be like, you got to make a decision right now. It's not how I work. This ain't no damn timeshare. If you want to do a little bit more investigation, if you find time of the day, go click on that link that John just dropped in, and it's going to show you everything about the event, details. It's located in Glendale, it'll give you all that stuff. Once you register, all the hotel information, room blocks, and all that gets sent to you so that you can get special pricing on the room where we're going to be holding it at. It's at a hotel. No, once you get to the hotel, all the event stuff is inside that hotel. The next link that we're going to drop in, if you know this is right for you and you're like, heck, I'm just signing up, Chris. I'll figure it out. John, do me a favor. Yeah, in Glendale. Yep, 100% Glendale, Arizona. And it's actually right over by where the Cardinals Stadium is, if that helps for a point of reference. John's going to drop in right now a link if you're like, yep, I'm just ready to get tickets. And they're, once again, discounted, no coupon code needed. We took care of all that for you. It's just $8.97 per ticket to get that. And remember, I'm going to answer questions, so don't leave. And I want you to join me. I want you to join me, my team, and this amazing community that we're a part of. And at Acceleration Days, we're going to dive deep into some of the strategies that help break you free from the long hours and how you can build a business that truly ignites your freedom. I want to end by just saying thank you so much for being here. And because you made the commitment to your team, I want to honor that you're here today and that you've taken the spot, the time to be here. And I don't take that lightly because I recognize there's a lot of other things that you could be doing instead of being here. But I once again, the 6 things we talked about, go do those and you're creating freedom. You want the shortcut, you want the cheat code, come see us in Glendale. And we're here to stay in touch with you guys. Once again, this will end midnight April the 11th. We cut it off, and if seats fill up before then, it will cut off before then. This will ensure that you get everything in. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm only taking questions that were in the chat first, and then I'm gonna hang around. Debbie, you look cozy right now, by the way. It must be cold in Buffalo. You're looking fancy. That's a nice looking jacket. I'm going to come all the way back up. John, make sure I don't miss anything if I didn't. Um, Let me get this. Boom, right here. From Kyle, Chris, if you aren't doing this already, leadership oriented course and training, it would be awesome if we could add to your capabilities. Well, I have great news for you, and I'm not making some vain promises. This is on our roadmap, Kyle. In fact, I'm demoing some of it right now. My team is working on leadership. There'll be 3 different leaderships in addition to Management Growth Academy. There'll be 3 different levels of leadership classes, those that are in the field that are looking to move into a field-based management. Those that are, and then that'll be a class. There'll be another class that if you're a field-based manager looking to move into a mid-level management, there'll be a class for that. There'll be a class if you're in a mid-level manager and you're looking to move into a high-level manager, we'll have that as well. So I want to make sure that's there. Let's see. I want to add an employee to work with me. Just need to know where to start. So Gregory, let me help you with this one. I get this question a lot. Chris, where do you start? And there is no cookie cutter answer. But step number 1 to getting out of the truck is identifying which skill set are you best at. Are you better at selling in the field? Or would you be better in the office, managing the office, answering phone calls, and managing a schedule and hiring somebody that can sell? Now, if you're good at selling, step 1 is the next person that you hire should be the person internal to help get some of that stuff off your plate so you can go sell and spend time doing the work. The next thing you need to be doing, if you're good at selling, is hiring somebody that can install everything you sell so that you can start working your way to the office as well. This is exactly how I started every location that I started with a field supervisor that was field-based that had the ability to sell their way out of the field. So they would eventually sell enough where they keep enough installers, and that's what generated the revenue to help go there. So the answer is not a cookie cutter. I would start first, Gregory, is which one is your stronger skill set? Okay, let's do that one and hire for the other. That's funny, Danetta. There's a company that keeps wanting us to buy them, and they don't even know what a P&L was. Yeah. Well, newsflash, there's a lot of folks in this industry, believe it or not, don't know what a P&L, a profit and loss statement is. Maybe I should hire a bookkeeper first. Gregory, no, I wouldn't start there. You can outsource that stuff, so I'll take that question as well. Of somebody that can do your books, it is a little expensive for a small one-truck operator, but there are some solutions out there. We have vendor partners that probably could be very affordable for you that could do your books for you, but we would have to probably work with getting you some systems set up in place so that hiring a bookkeeper is not just an accounts payable person or a data entry clerk at the back end getting your books closed out. I just give you full transparency. Today, I've got an internal person that handles what goes on internal, but we still have an external bookkeeper as well. So we're just not at a size where I plan on bringing it all in house yet. So help you to do that. Let's see where I got. Scaling has been an issue, and it will be until you get those 6 things in place, starting with number 1. Okay. Thank you, Meg, for that. Hit home, energized, productive. Let me go back. Yeah, you got that right, Mike. Sure, I agree with that, brother. Always feeling great on this side of the dirt. I don't know what the daisies look like on the bottom half, but I like the way they look on the top half. And thank you again, Greg. Side hustle, main hustle. And let's see. Yep. So you like cheat codes. If it maintains the same quality of work and it's safe, it's a service is going to last. Yes, 100%. Thank you, Danetta, for those, for sure. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mike, as well. Kyle, thank you as well. Appreciate that. I'm just looking through, making sure I didn't miss any questions. And yes, Meg, yes, it's 897 per person. John got that one for you. Really happy to hear that. Perfect. So an 897 takes care of your 2.5 days. The only thing you got is your meals, which would basically be just dinners. We take care. We have a like a breakfast. It's not heavy breakfast, but there'll be some like snacks in the morning. We do snacks during the day, and then we also provide lunch. And there's a couple days where there is some cocktail receptions and some booze and some hors d'oeuvres if you like that stuff as well. Um, I've got 5 minutes. I'm gonna ask you a question. If you were on today and you were not registered, tell me what I got to do to help get you there as a member. I know that sometimes people have, oh, hey, thank you for that one. Heck yeah. Let me go to the AI question. I missed that one. Thank you, John. That's why John's on to keep me from squirreling out. Hire me a babysitter. Heck yeah. All right, so let's talk AI for a minute. And by the way, we're here to help. For those, I want you to understand, we're not here to hurt you. We're here to help you. That's our intention. Um, as a part of that, let's talk AI for a minute. So some of the things that AI can do for you, um, Jay is just and is Jay? Are you still on right now? I don't be handling this of Jay. Yeah, there he is. I see you. I see you, Jay. I got you. AI. Let's start with that. Jay, can you unmute yourself for a little bit? Have a little bit of a dialogue with the group here and do some live coaching if that's okay.
Yep. Okay.
Perfect, Jay. Tell me a little bit about your business. How many technicians are you running?
2 full-time in the field and myself part-time.
Okay, perfect. I like that. Right to
But
have
I am
that.
the everyman with everything else.
Heck yeah, I understand that. So there are vendors out there, Jay, that will allow you to. Who answers your phones today? Do you do that?
I'm the everyman.
Okay, all right, cool. If you want to start freeing yourself up, my guess is from time to time you probably miss calls, right? Like
I
you're on the
do
phone.
have a answering service that I'm not currently happy with that takes my missed calls or after hours calls.
Okay, so AI can actually do this for you. And actually, at this event, one of our vendors that does this will be there, be on stage. We'll be demoing what they do live, and they can do what's called overflow
Mhm.
nights and weekends. Now, they're not going to dispatch your technicians out, and you may make a decision that you don't, somebody's got to be involved at that, but think about the freedom that that creates immediately, that you don't have to be on it all the time with the phone ringing, right? So I would start with that. That's the first one. That's the first component. The second component outside of call taking. Oh, and by the way, you can also automate AI in your marketing. So, for example, this is not a today you got to go do it this way, but you can actually set software up that will automate messaging to your customers marketing offers by way of text messages, ringless voicemails, and email marketing. So AI can do that for you as well. Allowing customers to book online. Do you know? Uh, do you know if your website today has a booking link on it where people can just book an appointment with you?
I haven't made it active yet. We do have the online inquiry, the real live chat, and
Okay.
my field service software does have the capability of having a booking portal.
Okay, and you got to do that right, Jay, or it won't. AI is going to make you mad,
Yeah.
right? So it goes back to you got to make sure it's set up correctly, or it's going to just frustrate the heck out of you. The next component is there actually is AI dispatching as well. So you can have that once again. If a human does it and it's repetitive and it's a task, we can get AI to do it. Now we have a company that does this as well. The company's called Buck AI, and they can do this for you to help build in the dispatching component. What software are you on, just so I know?
Right now, currently on Field Pulse, but we're looking to change.
Okay. All right. I don't know if they have an open API, but if they have an open API, you can virtually build anything from there. The next component that you can do is you can automate workflows from the field with AI that generates certain things to be done that requires your technicians to do that. Yeah, you got that, Raylyn. Buck AI, Utku is, and they're one of our vendor partners. I could connect you with them if you want to shoot me an email. Obviously, membership has its privileges with our vendor partners, but I don't want to withhold information from you. But that being said, from there, you can actually automate some of the invoicing and closing out of stuff. So here's where I would start, Jay. Start with the thing that takes a lot of your time and go, how can we automate this? Right. Um, What, like responding to Google reviews, AI can do that. Like there's just things that you're like, golly, how do I get this off my plate? Now you're going to have to pay to automate,
Yeah.
but you're buying freedom is what you're buying.
Yeah.
So
My
nothing.
website company's supposed to be doing that, but they're lacking on that end. So
And I would say this, if your vendor partner is not doing a great job for you, you got to communicate with them and give them an opportunity to fix it. I'm just a fan of that. Give them an opportunity to fix it. And then if they can't fix it, then you move on. That's how I work. So, Jay, and I probably could, once again, I could give you an entire day of like AI stuff that you could do. And in fact, I'm actually working on a project with an AI company right now. More to be talked about, blue collar, about some things that we're working on with AI.
mm.
And by the way, it ain't going anywhere. It's
No,
only
no.
going to get deeper and deeper into our industry. Any other questions at 6 o'clock on the dot Eastern?
No,
All right.
okay. Thank you.
No, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. From the bottom of my heart, for everybody that joined today and then you stuck around, thank you so very much for hanging out. And remember, the offer that I made is the cheat code, but it ends very soon. I told you it's not for everybody. I get that. Raylan, the name of the company is called Broccoli AI. Broccoli AI. And there's other ones out there that do it, by the way. So I don't want you to feel like it's the only one that does. There's a lot of them out there. So thank you all very much for being here. And remember, lack of taking action on your part will constitute in you living Groundhog Day again over tomorrow. Okay. So take action. For many of you, the shortcut code is get to acceleration days. Members, get there, please. We want to help change your life. It's not costing you anything to get there other than your time and your flight and your hotel. It's including your membership for those. Once again, 700 reasons why to show up in addition to every other reason why you already had to see me in Glendale, my team in Glendale. We look forward to seeing you. Members, thank you so much for showing up and showing out like you always do. And for those that are not members, hey, we look forward. If we get to see you in person, I'd be thrilled to death. But if not, we'll see you again in Zoom world. John, thank you so much for today. I appreciate you. Everybody take care. Be well.
Accelerate your path to success with the blue collar success group.